Personal branding through online discussion, news, and bookmarking. So now we're kind of taking this out of the realm of the corporate world and the business world and looking at it from your own personal standpoint. A couple of things to keep in mind here. First off, engage in professional discussions related to your career interest. So if you are looking to become somebody that is prominent in a certain type of industry, look for others in that industry and engage in communication with them. A thoughtful tweet could be a great way to impress somebody within the industry, and by joining a group, you could, over time, possibly find that your carefully written comments could lead to opportunities that are out there. It's a great way to do networking. Be careful of participating in discussions on controversial topics. If you decide to participate, make sure to be respectful of others in the discussion. Otherwise, you could wind up starting a flame war and could create some polarizing views on who you are and impacting how you are seen as a thought leader. All right, third, your username will be associated with your post, and you can't control the comments of others. Some stories will be more likely to attract those that write inflammatory comments. So this is more just kind of a caution, things to be aware of. It may cause you to think twice about what types of content you post or the way that you post that kind of content, but it's also that preparation of the idea that, you can't please everybody. And there are going to be those that are going to try to cause problems online. And those are things that you're going to want to be prepared for and perhaps have some sort of action step that you're willing to take in order to deal with those types of comments. Your bookmarks on your registered accounts are available for others to see. So this is something to keep in mind that, on these social sites, people can see the things that you're interested in and the ways that you categorize things and all, see what it is that you have bookmarked. You will not be regarded as a professional if you link certain types of content, adult content in particular, but certain types of content listed under your username or account could make you seem less of a professional, less of somebody that is a reputable source for certain types of information and content. And that is something that you're going to want to keep in mind as well. Properly attribute the source of any content that you pin to your Pinterest or other bookmarking accounts. This is going back to the conversations that we've had about attribution, copyright, fair use, plagiarism, all those sorts of things. If there's ever a question on whether you can properly use something, Purdue University has a great website to be able to kind of guide you through the ways that you should handle different situations. And that website is listed there in your notes. Follow the rules of the bookmarking site. Copyright infringement, spamming, pornographic posts, just some of the things that could get you kicked off of the platform. Make sure you know the terms and conditions and follow them. Finally, show your expertise by using content curation. Finding content written by others and reposting it with proper attribution is a good way to establish your reputation. Part of that is showing that it's not necessarily just you that has all the vast knowledge, but you know how to find people that do have knowledge on things that you're interested in. And if you could align yourself with some of those reputable sources, trusted sources, that helps you all the more. Now let's move on to Q&A sites. Q&A sites lets people pose questions and receive answers back from anyone willing to provide replies and hopefully are knowledgeable enough to be able to reply to the questions that are being offered. Most Q&A sites can also provide fast answers by looking up questions that have already been asked. The other option is waiting to see if someone answers the queries that are on there. Q&A sites gained a reputation for providing detailed and useful answers. This process can be a natural way to demonstrate thought leadership and build trust in a brand through the knowledge of its spokespeople. So if you are participating in Q&A sites and you're providing answers to questions that are intelligent, that provide full, complete answers to questions, that don't just give real short answers that are hard to follow, or don't give complete details on how to do a certain process, for example, or some other considerations of things. The more that information you provide and the clarity of the answer that you provide, the more it is going to create an environment where you are seen as someone that is reputable in that particular field. In order to build your reputation on Q&A sites, simply share answers in a thorough, detailed way. So, there you go. In addition, Q&A sites can help build links back to a personal profile or a product page, drawing more attention from the target audience. So not only is it providing answers, but it's also allowing you the opportunity to be able to give reference as to who you are, who you represent, and make connections in that way as well. What about the future of all of these different types of sites? Social news sites continue to gain ground over traditional news outlets as new generations move from traditional news media to the internet. In 2011, online news readership for the first time overtook newspapers, and we have seen a pretty steady decline of newspapers over the past 20 to 25 years, to where a lot of people are getting their news information online, whether it is through some of the social news sites or even just from websites that are out there that provide news services. The growth is occurring on sites that allow users to share their favorite internet content and to comment on it. A lot of people are using the traditional social media sites to share news stories, Facebook and Twitter and all of those. But there's also the aspect of using the social news sites, the discussion forums, to be able to share certain articles and create a conversation around them. And that is becoming more and more attractive. The data produced by social bookmarking is valuable to search engines. That's an important thing for us to know, because if people are searching for certain types of content and you're savvy enough to be able to use social bookmarking strategically, your content could show up in those searches. Bloggers should submit their posts to well-regarded bookmarking sites. It increases their brand awareness, improves their search engine rankings, and leads to higher Google page rank and domain authority, which is a measure of the name's power. So the more that you are able to be searched and that your results come up within those searches, you have that higher domain authority in which your content is associated with those particular types of searches, therefore associated with that particular type of content. One problem that social media marketers are trying to solve is how to track shares of content that fall within what is called dark social. Dark social is any website traffic that can't be attributed to either a search engine or some other referral that includes a referral tag. In those sorts of ways, basically it's that idea that someone doesn't include a hashtag, doesn't include a source, or otherwise does not highlight certain key terms or the name of your business or things like that in ways that search engines can pick up on that content. There are no known methods for stopping dark social, and even if one is found, consumers with privacy concerns will always find ways to keep their sharing private. So part of the challenge here is that if you are unable to easily find that sort of content, it can be hard for you to know it can be hard for you to be able to listen to the public in terms of what they are saying about you and your brand and the content that you're offering, whether it be in a positive or a negative light. So it does become a challenge in that way. Those voices are those that you may not necessarily pick up on as easily. And there's certain opportunities that could be missed as a result. All right, best practices. Sometimes known as Netiquette, which is a combination of the terms internet and etiquette. These largely unspoken rules define interactions in online communities. So let's take a look at some of the netiquette that we should be aware of. First off, stick to the topic. Avoid tangents, chit-chat, or diversions from the main topic because they inconvenience other users when you do so. It's kind of that idea of basically hijacking a thread where you wind up talking about something that has nothing to do with the original post, and it just kind of derails the conversation. Second, make sure that you search before you post. Most discussion boards have extensive archives that can be mined for information. Asking questions that have been answered before makes the poster seem lazy or inexperienced. If you continually ask questions that may have been previously discussed in past threads, people will get that sense that you're not searching for information on your own. And most of the time on question and answer sites, the questions that are most well received are going to be questions that are not easily found by doing an internet search. And that's where the answers of people on those questions are really seen as valuable. Use good grammar and capitalization. While minor grammar errors are easily forgiven, they should not impact readability. Know how to put a sentence together. Make it easy to read and follow. Follow the rules of grammar. Don't use all capitals when posting. It is interpreted as shouting by forum users and will generate negative responses. It also just tends to show people as being lazy and careless in terms of the way that they do their conversations, and honestly not be seen as intelligent when they write content as well. No feeding the trolls. A troll is someone who attacks or personally insults another user, driving a thread off topic with negative comments. And a troll would do what is called trolling. It would refer to posting unsupported controversial claims intended to anger others and provoke a response. So the idea here is to try to stay away from controversy that is very easily able to be avoided, to create a sense of animosity on the internet. Stay away from that as much as you possibly can, because even if you're in the right, it could very much damage the way that people perceive you online. Do not post repetitively. Do not double post. Users find it annoying when someone litters a forum with comments that disrupt the flow of discussion. One thing that could be a bit of a challenge here is that if you are part of different forums or groups that have similarities in the types of content that they discuss And if you ask the same question on several of those, many times people tend to be part of those same groups, and they would see that content on those different forums. And that could also be overtaxing as well. So be very careful with the number of times that you post certain questions or certain types of content. Be wary of the audiences that you're trying to reach. And while it's okay to post different things in different ways to try to attract different audiences, if you suspect that certain content would be seen by the same people over and over and over, that is something that you are going to want to be aware of when you post content. Finally, no sock puppets. A sock puppet creates a fake online identity to praise, defend, or create the illusion of support for oneself, one's allies, or one's company. In other words, you create a person or persona in order to give yourself praise under the guise of being somebody else. Most people can sniff that sort of thing out, and they will call you out as a fraud if you do something like that. So there you go. There's the notes for Chapter 10. Make sure you take a look at the study questions and then bring your questions and comments with you when we get together to discuss these things.